I read an article by an EU commissioner who had been blindsided by the dodgy reappearance in extra session of parts of Articles 11 and 13 in the 2018 EU Copyright Directive. He mused at the fact that it would now be illegal to photograph friends and family in front of famous sporting events was a surprise and would take some fixing. His press officer chimed in that the provision was nothing new and was meant to prevent online gambling companies profiting from posting sports on their websites. I'm still smarting about it all this time later, and it's the main theme of the following rant. To punish online gambling companies, laws made getting gamed legal. It sidestepped organised crime and hoovered money up for the money printers. Sponsoring the surveillance state, which I get it. In a den of thieves, it is nice if everyone knows that my bicycle is being surveilled by cameras, its chip is being tracked, and miscreants will lose the urge to steal. That's super. But if I don't steal, and lead by example, how about that? You no longer have to leap punitive trade barriers to reach a large pulpit of right-thinking inhabitants of this our fair planet. And if we all don't steal, because it's wrong to steal, we can overthrow the pirates who are jolly rogering us right now. The ones who made online gambling legal, who then made it illegal to record snippets or more of live sports events with our self-surveillance tools, which the AI will find and levy fines on. Against grandparents taking footage of their beaming grandchildren at their first insert name of sport closely associated with now legal gambling. And whoops, you can't make an omelette without breaking eggs. Well, yes, we fined 80,000 people and cancelled their RF chips for half an hour from their next transaction. It was only half an hour. I'm sorry, that minion has been replaced. The government would like to pay you for what happened to Grandma Jo when she was trying to purchase her heart pills. Please, accept this top-up of 50,000 units? Oh, I misspoke. 500,000 units. No, gulag. Sounds of stomping feet. Memory hole. Are we there yet? No, fortunately. But it's happened before, and it's happening now. It's what happens when evil rules, like the papacy from the 3rd century, and its current head of the snake, the Hydra hidden in plain sight, co-opted as fiction in the mystery plays set in the Marvel universe. Heil Hydra, the crown, the bankers, the papacy, the oligarchs, the open criminals, well, some of them, the Bilderberger backbone, the puppet actors and media stars, politicians, forecasters, public speakers, rock bands, rappers. Well, if they get grunge, I'm personally offended. Although Chris Cornell of Soundgarden was whistle-blowing from somewhere. So my tastes are no different. But this lot, these evil parasites who tempt the brightest and the best into their golden handcuffs and use them to stifle justice and creativity like a proper creaking, groaning, overladen bureaucracy, the EU, like they can do in spades, these nimrods, these cheats, are being revealed. The microdosers, the DZT takers, the megalomaniacs, the manipulators. We know their names, and that their surveillance state is watching them too. Well, the Podestas have left the scene. Linda Rothschild was allegedly terrified, and if she still is, how very delicious. In an eyes wide shut, get what you paid for, no more lawn parties to boost the Clintons sort of way. The bell is tolling for the Clinton Foundation, the embezzling, the trafficking, and the incredible greed and narcissism. Hopefully the first of many to come. I know the EU had a law in the 90s. The only 10% of money raised needs to be spent on the issue for which the money is raised. I tell everyone I know if a suitable moment arises. I had a friend in the EU International High School who heard it in law class and passed it on to boggle at the sheer abuse. You can even spend the 10% on your friends, if in any way they can meet your mission. Oxfam executives are renowned for their open policies on sleeping with vulnerable people at risk. Barely a ripple in the media, but wealth and power over the innocent in great abundance. The Child Protection Services, an arena from which you seldom hear tales of life-affirming success, but plenty of heartbreak. I get it now. Conservative values, the family. When I was growing up, oh how gauche, how uncool to have parents who love each other and their children. Oh how selfish not to realise that each child owes a debt of allegiance to the state and should be educated, fed and clothed and eventually given universal income. Oh, great plan. They have that in England. And although in political lectures across the world it's a payment freeing citizens from the constraints of work, allowing them true emancipation from the travails of life, it's actually yet another name for income support and is a spotty, ill-funded, meagre existence wrung from the sweat of the ever-diminishing middle class, stunting growth in a double whammy-spaced swathe of the population of the Saxe-Coburg Kingdom. The most surveilled per capita country in the world. And boy howdy, probably making some decent bank from the tech and the intellectual property, even if it is filtered through unregulated territories of social scores, organ harvesting, people trafficking, etc., 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 of glorious communist China. The bright future that is difficult to make stick on a concentrated, informed populace. And the information is plentiful if you look, but you might want to pick a less heavily censored engine than Google, which was once pretty well informed and can still artificially map you as data and offer up your secrets, just as Open Sesame opened up the Cave of Wonders with the best of them, but is now heavily edited by microdosing demagogues who have heard the Anunnaki commend their endless narcissism and rampant egos into saving the world from the 6.5 billion of us who are filling up this massive planet until it pops, as the temperature and ice masses go up and down a bit, as we wobble through space, chasing a huge ball of exploding gases that made us toasty enough for life. But we're not on a hill rolling down towards the sun, which is the primal fear behind global warming. Although if we're going to label that fear climate change to include cooling as well, that does mean that realistic seeming primal fear does mean that the blue marble is rolling back up the hill. So perhaps you should listen to the 3% of scientists who are actually climate scientists, and listen to the ones who are not funded by those who would financially benefit from the carbon tax scam, which, like online gambling, will be legal but immoral, even though one of those cases wraps itself in borrowed virtue, because if it were true, it would be nice. So even if it isn't true, it's still nice. And it's these people who run these tricks, these wool over the eyes types, the AI programmers that will track you, find all the sports data you have filmed, movies you have streamed, games you have played for free, and punish you like a criminal. This is in place in Article 11 and 13, so that online gambling companies cannot post sport clips on their websites. I don't think they want to publish online gambling companies, unless of course they don't earn off them. But these rules that are being made to keep us in an RF chip cage where you can gamble, watch porn, socially network until the door locks slammed. And then maybe, just maybe, they'll work out how to make us behave. And it never gets that far in a concentrated, well-informed populace, because here we are, pointing it out and watching the beast and the beast system shrivel and die. And if you're in the bad habit, kick it.